Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome back to Fiverr Talks. As always, my name is Joel, and it's Monday, so it's time for a little bit of motivation. Today, we're talking about getting started on Fiverr or reaching that next level. People have been asking me constantly, how can I get started when my skills aren't where I want them to be? Well, I believe there's a customer for everybody with a marketable skill, no matter what level you're at, and today we're going to talk about how to know where you're at and how to get to that next level. That's right, for this Motivation Monday, we're talking about how there's a customer for every single seller. I truly believe that no matter where you are, whether you're just getting started, whether you're at the top of your game, there's a next step for you. There's something on the other side of where you are today. I don't believe anyone has reached the absolute pinnacle, the apex, the epitome of where they could go or take their skills or career or service. So there's always another step ahead of you. And because of some of the things we shot videos about last week and the week before about turnaround times and pricing your services, getting these things right, there was a lot of conversation in the comment section, and I've heard you about where to start with all of this stuff. How to find not only your place in the pricing model and scales on Fiverr, but how do you progress through those things? And there are a lot of you out there that are just getting started or considering getting started, but you may be on the edge of the cliff, kind of worried to take that leap, not quite ready in your own mind to get started. And you may be asking yourself, is there a customer out there for me? I'm just getting started. I just picked this up. I'm just new to the game, whether it be graphic design or voice acting or creating some kind of video or copywriting or, whatever it is, whatever creative service you sell, everybody starts in the same place at the beginning. And if you're trying to sell something and you're just at the beginning, I don't believe it means that you shouldn't sell anything. Because I'm a huge fan of get started and get started today. I believe it just means you have to find the right customer for where you are today. So I really want to start this entire conversation with the baseline that you have the beginnings of a marketable skill. I've talked about this in other videos and pushed back on other people that'll tell you that you can make money on Fiverr with no skills. I don't believe that's true. I believe you have to have a marketable skill, and I believe economics would agree with me that that's an absolute necessity in order to make money. Have a marketable skill, provide value in the marketplace. And if you have that as your baseline, but you're just getting started, you're working toward becoming great, you're learning, then I believe at a certain point there is a customer for everybody. And so I want to kind of start out with what I've seen in the comment section, the kind of things people have been saying, and how we can view these things no matter where you are on the scale on Fiverr. So the question I see all the time is, where can I start? When can I start? And the answer to that is, you can start when your service provides value to a group of people. It can't just provide value to one person, because that's what we call an anomaly, and one person is not a customer base. You have to be able to provide a service that provides value to a group of people, and those people are your customers, your customer base. When you meet those requirements, you are ready to get started. Now, the response that I see a lot of time is, I'm just getting started. I'm not sure if anyone would pay for my services. I'm not sure how to start or what level to start on. And the answer is, you need to start at the bottom and work your way up. Start at the beginning. It's time for a little bit of story. This is how I started. When I got started on Fiverr, I started as a voice actor, but I had absolutely no experience. I had absolutely no background or history as a voice actor, both on the actual practical side of doing the voiceover or the technical side of recording it and making it sound good. I had no experience with any of that stuff. I had a little bit of equipment and a little bit of gumption and motivation to get started, so I just got started. And in the early days, my rate was about 10 times cheaper than it is today. In other words, I would do 10 times the amount of words that I did today for the same rate that I do a very small amount of words today, because I actually have 10 years of experience now. I've done this for tens of thousands of people, and I've worked my way up. But at the beginning, I was extremely cheap. My rate was cheap. Why? Because I was just getting started, and anybody who hired me would have to be the right fit. Now, I know we've already talked about cheap sellers on Fiverr and how you don't want to be a cheap seller. You want to be somewhere in the middle. And the truth is that's absolutely right. That's where you want to be. But when you're just getting started, there is something beautiful about getting started with people whose budgets are lower. You know, the reason there's a customer for you is because some customers have a very limited budget, and they may look at what you have even as a beginner and say, that is perfect, not only for my budget, but for my expectations. Now, where it becomes tricky is when you have buyers that have high expectations and a low budget and they don't really seem to get it. But I believe that there are buyers out there, customers for people who are just getting started, have to have their rates lower because they are getting started and are going to be thrilled with that result. Are you going to be the same as, a world-renowned, world-class, highly experienced voice actor? No, but you also don't cost $20,000 a read, and there's a difference between you and Morgan Freeman. There was a difference between me and a professional voice actor in the beginning, and that's why my rates were much lower. So if you're wondering when can I get started, if you can provide value, I believe you can find the customer. And really, the fact is, there are many different types of customers out there. All you have to do is find your customer target group. And I believe that as you're getting started and you're beginning to look into this stuff, or if you're already started and wondering, when can I go to the next level, you need to ask yourself a series of questions. And I've got 4 questions for you today that you should ask yourself as you're getting started or looking toward that next level, whether you're at the beginning of the race, the middle of the race, or all the way at the end. You should ask these questions. First, you can ask, who can I serve, and who would my services be useful to? Even if you've been doing this for a while, you should constantly be asking that question. Who am I serving, and who maybe am I not serving yet? Who would my services be useful for? Who would look at what I do and say, gosh, I could really use that help. And at that price point, for that turnaround time, I would absolutely buy that service. You need to ask yourself the question of who. That'll help you to not only get started, but get to the next level so that you can level up, you can find new people, you can serve new niches. And I believe if you're asking that question all the time, you can grow and evolve a business into something quite substantial over time. So that's the first question. The second question you should ask yourself is, what level of value does my service provide to these people? Now, this is how you actually price yourself out, asking yourself, what level of value am I providing? Am I saving this person 5 minutes or 5 hours? That determines your value. Am I providing them with something that they could probably do if they had enough time to figure it out, but they just don't want to? Or am I providing them with a service that they could never do on their own? Things that they could never possibly achieve without my help. That will determine where you land on the price sector. That divided by your experience, so the value you bring divided by your experience, this is a real technical mathematical formula here, that equals your price. But if you're asking yourself not only who are you serving, who is my service useful for, but what level of value does it bring to the table? That will help you figure out when and where to start, and most importantly, who to market yourself to and start with. The third question you should be asking is, how do I increase the value of my service? You should be asking, what skills do I need to sharpen? What do I need to get better at? Because honestly, too many people believe that just by doing what they're doing, they're going to get better over time. And certainly that's probably true to a certain point, right? I mean, if you do something over and over, you're bound to get better at it. But if you're not receiving any feedback on that from people who really are good at it, how can you get much better? I mean, there's a cap on how good you can get. If you're not receiving any extra education or looking at outside sources or progressing in that, then you're not going to increase the value of your services to those people. So you have to ask yourself, what kind of skills, what do I need to increase in my life for my service, for my business, in order to increase the value, to raise the level of what I'm offering, and therefore that will allow me to raise my prices? Whether you're starting at the beginning or you're somewhere in the middle, you need to ask yourself this question a lot, probably weekly. How do I raise that value so that I can make more? Because nobody wants to stay at the bottom of the barrel or, the middle of the heap forever. You want to grow and progress till eventually you're at the top of the mountain, the top of the pile. You're the most experienced person out there. But you have to ask yourself, what things do I need to increase? What skills? What tactics? What policies, what procedures do I need to get better at, to positively impact in order to get to that next level. And then fourth, here's the question that I think is most important. It wraps all of these up. It's how do I know when the value of my service actually has increased? This is when you know you should and you can raise your prices, raise your level, that you have successfully increased your value to your customer base, and now you're ready to increase your rates. I'll just say as kind of a side answer, these are not questions I meant to answer for you, but I do think that demand says a lot about the answer to that fourth question. How do I know when I am providing great value and it's time to increase the cost of my services? Almost every step of the way for me as a seller, it's always been demand. When I couldn't keep up with demand, that was a sure sign that the market was responding to not only my skills, but the people I was serving was correct, that I've increased my skills so much that everybody wants it and I don't have enough time to fulfill all the orders. That is when you should know. That's a surefire way of knowing that you've increased your value to the marketplace, that you're set in a good spot, and it's probably time for a price increase. But more than that, I want these questions to encourage you to get started wherever you are. As long as you have a marketable skill, even if you're just getting started, even if you're early, even if you're not as good as the people you see on Fiverr crushing it and killing it today, you can start somewhere. You can provide value to somebody, and there are customers out there that can't afford to pay people like me who have been on the platform for 10 years and have a higher rate, but they can't afford to pay you. That fits their budget and their expectations. That's what the marketplace needs. People at varying different levels growing and selling services alongside of each other. And that's why even if we sell the same service on Fiverr, we're not against each other. We're together because we're oftentimes serving different people, different customers. There are unique customers for each and every one of us out there. And I believe it's just our job to find a way to that customer base so that we can serve them and that the whole Fiverr gig economy can continue to turn. So I hope that was helpful for you today. I hope it gave you or somebody just a little bit of motivation that if you were on the edge and you're ready to get started, then maybe this video pushed you over the edge, or maybe you've been stagnant right where you are, kind of flatlined, plateaued for months or years, and you're ready to get to the next level. Use these questions to incrementally level up your game, level up your prices, level up your value and your quality so that you can reach the top of the mountain. Because once you get there, you get to name your price. You get to control more things, and you get to work with the clients you want. And ultimately, that's the goal. All right, well, thank you so much for joining me for today's video, a little bit of Motivation Monday. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. New videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And if you like the content, give me a thumbs up. It really helps us with the algorithm. And if you're ready to go deeper, then join me every single Friday over on patreon.com/DJYoung. For a small, affordable price, you can get access to a huge library of exclusive videos just like this, even some resources and tools, PDFs, spreadsheets, cool stuff like that I've never released here on YouTube, exclusively over on Patreon. And you'll get access to our exclusive Q&A videos every single month, and the videos we put out every single Friday just for Patreon insiders. So that's the best way to become the best possible Fiverr seller, your best possible Fiverr self. Remember, as always, keep doing, because the future favors the doers.